Hello and welcome to today's video. This is Kelly Borsheim. I'm a sculptor and a painter and muralist maker. I want to talk today about my sculpture in marble from Carrara. The subject is Atlas, what happens when Atlas gets tired of holding up the world, based on a Greek mythology. And I want to talk about the tools that I'm using. I show you a little bit of the hand tools and then also my two smallest pneumatic chisels. And I show you the difference in what they can do and how I feel about them. So stay tuned and let's get into it. I want to say also that when I am carving, I have muted the sound so that it's not so annoying to hear bzz, 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 or ching, 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 ching. And I've also sped it up a little bit so that you don't have to sit there and watch every single moment of every cutting of the marble that I'm doing. So let's get into it, and I appreciate your staying and commenting and asking questions. Thank you so much. Let's get into it. Good morning, this is Kelly Borsheim, and I'm here to talk about this sculpture of Atlas. And, alright, so what I have done here is I've made marks on the figure. The figure of Atlas is the god that's supposed to hold up the cielo, the sky, supposed to separate the sky from the earth. So he's got a responsibility. It's a Greek myth. So here's his head. These are his shoulders, and then we come down. This is where it separates the arm from the torso. So I've marked these places now because he's a big athletic man. I've got to make a bulky man. And I may have these arms, I don't know if they would be half the distance of his torso, so I may have to refigure that. Or maybe these will be smaller, because the thing is, I always want to go big. So what happens is I end up doing these tiny sculptures because that's all I have the ability to do right now in my space. So I've marked all these things. Now, because Atlas is tired, the whole concept of this particular piece is what happens when Atlas gets tired of holding up the heavens. So if you think you have to express this idea through the posture of the body. So his shoulders have to be going down. He has to be the face. So I have to have the jaw has to be extended so his mouth can be going down, and of course the eyes will be down like mine normally are, sadly, or not. It's my family look. So I've marked here various points, the slope of the shoulder. And what I'd like to do now is cut off some of these places and start developing the shape. Now, the other thing is when I go into the pose for Atlas, I want my hands like this. Oh, I'm tired. But the arms go straight down here, and then they're going out because he's holding up something larger than he is, you see? So I'm doing that a little bit here. I go in, and then at the elbow joint, it'll come out again. So I'm leaving this part of the rock back in this space here. I don't know if you can see that there. I'm leaving this part here, but I want to slender this so that I have a way to get diagonally back into there, okay? All right, so let me get removing some stone. I'm using 4 points on this hand tool, which you can see because it doesn't have a cylinder here. So I'm using a hand tool just to see if I can get better at that. I don't use hand tools very often, and I want to see if I can figure out how to be a better sculptor. But anyway, the points remove rock fast. Normally at the beginning you use 1 point because it really removes material faster. However, 4 points gives a little bit more control, And because my piece is little, and it's very easy to make a mistake on a small proportion, so what I want to do is to try to control what I'm taking off a little bit here and do it a little bit slow. I'm going to use this for a little bit, but I can already tell you I'm going to bore of this, and I'm going to start using my pneumatic. But anyway, I do want to get better. Now, a flat you would do to remove the teeth marks. Can you see the teeth marks here? So that's what I'm working on. I have stones put underneath my rock here to stabilize it so it doesn't rock, because otherwise, if I'm trying to push like this and it's going away from me, obviously it's going to be fighting me, and there's no point in doing that because it's hard enough as it is to do this, although it's so fun. I'm afraid to go into this too much because this is my saving grace. You want to try to keep some kind of rock so that if you break something here and it doesn't go well, you can still go back into it a little bit. So I'm a little bit nervous about being too aggressive on that. But I also know it's my fear of being aggressive that makes the project last forever. With chips, I'm not throwing off a lot of powdered stuff, so it's a lot easier to have a lighter protection, which is nice because it's starting to get hot outside. Not really hot, but not by Texas standards anyway. So I can tell I'm already sort of annoyed by this and I want to get to my... I bought a new tool from Couturi in Massa, Italy, and I want to start to use it, see if I like it, because it sure looked like it really removed material quickly, and that's always a plus, but still left a lot of control. It's a tiny little tool, which means it's very light and probably more suited for women, because unless I'm able to do another symposium, which I would love to do, it's I'm stuck having to work here in my field where my landlord said no big pieces can be handled from bringing the street here, the transportation. So anyway, if I can't do a symposium, I'm stuck doing small pieces. And that's okay, because this piece that's below this one as a stand is one I just brought back from the Pietrasanta area. And it's too heavy for me to carry. I can push it around, but I can't actually lift it. So the little small thing. So watch in a minute. I'm going to turn on the compressor and then start using this other tool, and let's see how it rock and rolls, okay? Okay, so this is the baby Couturi that I bought, little tube. I bought the extra holder here. I actually took this to Atom in Pescia because the piece the man at Couturi sold me wasn't going to work directly with this. I had to have adapters. So I went to Atom and the owner changed it out for me. But this little switch here controls the airflow, okay? And then I just put it in direct. This is my hose that goes to the compressor. Here you can see it's open because it's straight in line with that. Okay, now it's off, okay? So, on this end, it's really as thin as a pencil. Do you see that? It's thinner than my finger. So, this is one of the chisels that I bought extra that didn't come in the kit. And it's going to go in here and do its little pneumatic chisel. Look how tiny, tiny, tiny those, it's 3 teeth in there. Can you see? So, I'm going to get to work now. I'm curious. I hope I didn't waste several €100 on a doll toy. Okay, so I have to admit, it didn't remove stone as fast as it did during the demo. Oop! So, I'm going to try my Bantam now, which is the size that I had before. That's I think Bantam is American made. And I'm going to see if it can do some more removal faster. And look, I have new oil all over my fingers. So, let me get cleaned up and start with the Bantam, and I show you the difference. Ciao, ciao. Alright, so this is my Bantam right here. You can see it's more than double the size of the original. The Bantam is more than double the size of this Kouturi. And, of course, the chisel's going to be larger. Put that out of the way. And also, I don't like to leave this tool out where it might get chips or dirt, because this is a precision. It enters the tool precisely in the piston cosy, and so you don't want to have a grain of sand or marble or anything get on it. So I try to put the tools away, just a little side thing because I was thinking of it. Alright, I put oil into here, of course. And sometimes when you turn it on, it doesn't do anything. You just lightly tap it. Or actually I prefer wood. So, and then it starts it up right away. If it doesn't start up right away, I would be careful, and maybe you have to, maybe something's going on you need to look at, and not just move ahead. Like my car at the mechanic right now, I think it's probably on its last leg. Self-controlling, yeah. And remember, when I do the cutting, I always have to have something touching the stone. I just don't freehand it like this. I need some kind of brace, whether it's my arm here or my hand here. I found out that this side is easier for me to work when I'm facing the camera, because I want you to see what I'm doing, but also you notice that here I go from the point in towards the marble, okay, with the vibration and the chisel and the part. If I start inside and I poke out towards the shoulder, it's possible that I could break off a big piece of marble here and lose my shoulder, you see. So on this side I found, because of where I have to be to get the angle here, I need to be on that side of the camera there a little bit, or turn the piece. I would obviously have turned the marble towards me, but I wanted to be able to let you see what was going on. But I can tell the fact that I used this a lot more, I already feel like a lot more marble went away, and so knowing me, I'm going to stick to this until I get to something really tiny and delicate. And but the guys that use hand tools all the time and were brought up using hand tools and swear that they're way better, they can do more, they're used to it, and that's fine. But and also, to be fair, the vibration of this thing is something to be considered. Also, when you start to get older, you don't want it can ruin your body. But I'm hoping this is small enough that it's it's a minor thing. I've got anti-vibration gloves with padding and stuff here. This pair is too large for me, but I didn't know that when I bought them. And anyway, so I'm going to keep working on this. I don't want to cut too much off the head because I sort of drew in the shape of a skull here, but I want Atlas probably has some nice curly Greek hair or something, so I want to leave space for me to figure out what I want to do for the hair later, and I haven't done that yet. So the head will be a little bit big, but as my friend Ken Burns in Austin, Texas used to say, hey, the person with the big head means that they're more likely to be famous than the other people. Really? Okay. He means head bigger than the proportion for the body that the person has. So I know a couple of people who have that, and I don't know if they're famous or not, but and probably fame is overrated, because when we're not famous, we can do what we want, right? I suppose there's a little both of that. When you're famous, it opens doors too. But anyway, quick discourse such as this. So I had another thought to share with you. Let me see if I can twist this a little bit. The rock below it is very heavy. I'm using it to get me higher, because when I sculpt something small like this, I prefer to have it up closer to eye level, not doing this so much, you know, with my arms raised. I'm still down here working with my arms to my sides, giving me strength, and I don't get tired as quickly. But I find that to have to do this, it really hurts the posture of the back, and I prefer to work with my back straight. So depending on the piece, I either use, you know, bend my knees and get the thighs to go down straight, or I raise the piece up, which this is the easier case, because otherwise it's a lot of this stuff. And I can still bend down with my legs if I want to get, you know, down here and look at something. But anyway, so I'm redesigning now. Disegno is the verb in Italian, and it means to design, but it also means to draw. And so right now you find that since I've been living in Italy for some time now, I'm getting to the point where I know a little bit of each language, and I'm forgetting a lot of the language I was born to. So I mix up my words a lot. But designing, so I want to come back here and design the head. Now, what I had done was with my bozzetto, my little clay model you may have seen in another video. It's very rough. I was just trying to get the lean back of the torso to make him really look exaggeratingly tired, because I want to put more energy and dynamics into my poses and not just paint what you see of somebody stilted sitting there a long time. Anyway, I had marked this is the height of the deltoid here, and so I came across here because when you're tired, both of your shoulders are going to go down. You're not going to do this like this unless you're caught in a place, but in this case he's got the weight on both hands, and so both shoulders are going to go down. Okay, so I decided that I hadn't drawn this I had the original drawing here, but I didn't have the one where I changed the model. So I need to really lower the delta here. Now I'll leave a little curve. Here I measured is the point where the arm connects to the torso. So the deltoid muscle, it's a landscape. Always it's a landscape of weaving hills, the muscles. So this group of the shoulder joint here comes in and it tucks in and it goes into here into the clavicle. Then you have the trapezius muscle, the kite-shaped muscle on the back of your back. It comes up and it starts the profile from this. So from this point you get kind of a diagonal like this. So this weaves in front, the trapezius goes in the back and inserts itself into the shoulder blade. So what I mean by that is this point where you have this change of the hill, because you sculpt with a profile normally. I want to get, if I can get the outline of the body, then the rest of this stuff I push it back as I need to get from this side and from that side. So I want to start with this profile being somewhat kind of proportional, so that I know when I come here, the shoulder blade goes there, the deltoid is here, the elbow is going to be there, that kind of thing. So I'm working first to develop this down this way. What I'm trying to say is the valley between this trapezius, now I have his head turned, so the trapezius is actually going to be inside here a little bit as it twists, okay? This is the spine here, so the trapezius, well, it's going to be in a little bit more, but as I twisted the head, the trapezius obviously goes to the base of the spine. So that's going to be inside, maybe like over here instead. But for right now, I'm doing a profile, so all I really need to do is make sure that this deltoid goes inside of this line where the arm connects to the torso. I don't really want a torso more thin than that, and arms, you know, because he's going to be a bodybuilder if he's holding up the sky, even though, let's say, the sky's lighter than the earth. But I don't know. I'm not an expert in stuff like that, but I'm just visualizing and what ifing is what as I do. So I want to leave a little bit of this, because again, even though we've talked about a stone expansion, I want to leave a little stone here, because also I'm putting teeth marks in. If I bruise the stone, I want space to go back down and work out that bruise later when it comes to the polishing stage. So I prefer to be careful, and to be fair, the more complicated I make my compositions, the slower I go, because I want to do it really, really well, and I want to learn something. And so for me, I would rather take the time and make one piece that's good, even if it takes me 5 years to do it, or, you know, whatever. I'm exaggerating, I hope. But anyway, the point is, I want this valley between the muscle here. The trapezius is your kite-like muscle. It goes from the neck to the shoulder and then comes down. And then you have, you know, the girdle, as we call it here. All right, so this point has to be inside of this point here. So that's what I'm working on now, is carving this in. But I want to keep the height there, because if I bunch up the shoulders too much, it's more like, oh, he's stressed, but he's not. He's exhausted. So it's a different use of the body, and I need to show that. So off with all of this, giving me more height to the head, but again, I'm going to leave some for the hair. and also to make sure I know how the trapezius is going to twist into the back there. So all this is going to go away. Now, when I was designing the head just now, I decided I want him to be looking up, partially because this is a small piece, so the odds are someone's going to place this on a table or something a little bit lower, and you don't want to have his head going down because then you can't see it. So also, if you're tired, a lot of times you look up to the heavens and you say, "Oh Lord, why me?" Right? So in the body language, now what I've done is I've started to draw the skull coming this way. You have the curve where the base of the skull, the brain, you know, the what do you call it? Well, it's the base of the skull where the neck enters and stuff. So anyway, the face will come in over here. You come in with the jawline, and then we have the, you know, the back. So that might be it. And I drew in these lines from basic to get the angle between the eye and the back of the head. You see, because when I'm looking up, you go back. It's well, stick a pencil in my ear as I usually do. Do you see how the line changes like that depending on, and because the skull is mostly bone, it's a much easier thing to place than other things, because when you have muscles or fabric or something that really, or fat, it really moves about wherever you want it to go. But the skull, you change it this way and it's quite easy to decide where it's oriented. So I want a little bit of an upward angle, and that's a mouth, because you want all of these things. I have a real hammer, a little stronger anyway than this, but I got it upstairs in my studio, and I don't want to, these little distractions are just bother me, and I want to get to this instead of worrying about what things look like and what does. So I'm tired of going back and forth to get little things. So anyway, I'm going to keep working with these. This is a hand chisel with a point, and this little hammer that I bought from my friend October. I'm trying to get the angle here. I've got to get the angle of the back. So I've measured where the waist comes in, how far the waist goes to get this cut. So I have to remove all of this. Ciao for now. Subscribe, like, and please share the video if you find it entertaining, useful, hopefully useful, and worth watching. Thank you for now. Ciao, ciao. Kelly Borsheim at borsheimarts.com.